And here we go. On this Monday evening in the city, it is the first day of June 2026, 6 o'clock, well, a couple of minutes after, but you get the idea. It is time for an all-new and live Real Talk Memphis. Glad to have you with us. I am your program host. My name is Chip Washington. Glad to be back. We were off last week, and we're back in the house this week to get it happening, get it done, and have another great show for all of you. Hope that you've been doing well since we checked in a couple of weeks back. I hope you had a nice Memorial Day holiday and the whole 9 yards. And yeah, and just in case you hadn't stuck your toe outside most of the day, it's hot. Temperatures, when I left my house, it was 93 degrees with a heat index of 100. So, if you were wondering where the summertime heat has been, well, guess what? It's here. And according to the weather folk, we could see some scattered thunderstorms later on tonight. Looks like the clouds are starting to roll in, and it's starting to get a bit dark out there. So be careful on your travels, especially if you have to go out later on this evening. Be careful on your travels out there on these byways and highways, and watch out for other folks because they may not be watching out for you. We have a great show for you tonight, but how do you get this fine piece of radio broadcasting? Well, there are several ways to do it. Right now, we are on live 91.7 on your FM dial. That would be WYXR. You can also find us on the WYXR app. We are also available on TuneIn. We are live streaming the show tonight on Facebook Live, so you can see us as well as hear us, if that is your thing. And when the show posts in the next couple of days, we'll be on YouTube, and we're a podcast, and as a podcast, once they post the show, you'll be able to find it wherever it is you get your favorite podcast. So we try to make it as easy on you as we possibly can. In terms of the guest list tonight, I think we've done pretty well. We're going to be talking for a couple of segments. We're going to be talking about the Memphis and Shelby County School takeover. With our first guest tonight is going to be one of the current school board members. That would be Tamarques Porter. I told him, I gently asked him to give me the straight skinny on how he feels about all of this now that it is no longer speculation, but it is real. This board, 8 of the 9 members have been selected. We're waiting on one more, but these folks are trying to start this thing July 1st, which is the beginning of the new fiscal year, and I thought it would be apropos to ask a current school board member just what he thinks about all of this, and what his hopes are and what his trepidations are. So we'll have a frank, open conversation in just a couple of minutes. A little bit later on, we are going to be talking with Beverly Robertson. Beverly is one of the appointed, 8 of the 9. She was appointed by Governor Bill Lee to be one of those individuals who will be on the oversight committee for Memphis and Shelby County Schools. In other words, part of the decision-making team that is going to guide our district for the next several years. I have several questions for her. This is an exclusive interview, so I'm very happy that she agreed to come on for a few minutes this evening. And in the second half hour, we don't hear a lot about this in terms of our young folks, but I'm going to introduce you to a 17-year-old young lady who wants everyone to know that just because she's young doesn't mean she's not interested, active, and involved. She is a community activist, and she started a couple of organizations, and she thinks that, adults ought to not be so narrow-minded and understand that young folks have minds, and they have voices, and they have thoughts and opinions. And we're going to hear from her. Jasmine Bernard is her name. We'll hear from her in the second half hour of the show. But as we get moving here on this Monday evening, the first thing we like to do is celebrate you. Lot of June birthdays. It's the first day of June. So without further ado, I say hit it, Brand. All right, so here we go. We have a lot of birthdays to start this month off. Randall Phillips celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday, Randall. Justin Macklin, one of my church members, he is celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday to Samantha Green, to Lillian Walker, to Lee Murphy. Tony Williams is celebrating her birthday today, as is Michael Todd, Jenny Miller, Felicia Haynes, and Patsy Riddle. July 1st birthdays, ladies and gentlemen. We hope that this day has been filled with fun and laughter. And from all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, we hope that you have had the most marvelous of birthdays. And we hope to be with you next year as you celebrate your next trip around the sun. Thank you, Bren. All right, let's take a quick look at some news and notes, shall we, in reference to what is going on. As I mentioned, we're waiting for one more individual to be appointed to the Memphis and Shelby County School Board. 8 members have been named, and we're waiting for that 9th one. Cameron Sexton has one more pick that he is going to offer before that board is actually complete. And again, I invite you to stay with us because in the next little bit, we're going to be speaking with Beverly Robertson, who is one of those individuals who is newly appointed to this Memphis and Shelby County Schools Oversight Board. She'll be on a little bit later on. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office, and I ain't heard any more about this afternoon, but there's been this ongoing battle between Sheriff Floyd Bonner and Mayor Lee Harris over $18 million that the Sheriff's Office needs basically to run the day-to-day operations of the jail. It costs a lot of money to be able to do that. They're shorthanded, so that's another deficit that they have as well. And they were supposed to be meeting on that this afternoon. I had not heard how all of that turned out, or if it did at all. There was supposed to be some sort of a vote on it, but yeah, there's absolutely disagreement and even some confusion as pertains to the Board of Commissioners. So we will stand by, wait and find out and see what happens. There were not one, not two, but 3 interstate shootings that happened over the weekend. 2 are on on I-240, and 1 on I-55. No one, thank God, was killed, and the search is on for at least suspects in 2 of those shootings. One of them apparently was arrested earlier this afternoon after having a dispute with 2 guys someplace else. Verbally, they got in the car, the 2 guys, and drove off, and then they turned around and looked, and the guy was following them that they had the dispute with. Well, he fired a shot at the vehicle, 1 or 2 shots at the vehicle. One of them was shot in the wrist. The other one was injured mildly, but he's going to be okay. They're all going to be okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it is summertime. It is hot. People have short tempers and short fuses. And again, just watch out for yourself and watch out for other folks. And then think to yourself, if someone cuts you off or someone is disrespectful or something other than that, whether or not it is up to you to want to get into a confrontation, because these days, these streets can be a bit rough and danger around every corner. So I would just advise you to think a couple of times before you decide to embark in that direction. I am going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to get this show started. Welcome back to us. Welcome back to you after a couple of weeks. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening in the city. Chip with you, and very happy to have my first guest with me. He's about to board a plane, and he took some time to join us this evening. He is a current elected school board member. I think that is important to note, considering what has happened and what is about to happen with this appointed school board team. Please welcome to the show Tamarques Porter. And Tamarques, it's great to see you, my friend. How you doing tonight?
All is well, Mr. Washington. Thanks for having me on the show. Thanks for accommodating my schedule. But this, as always, Real Talk, and it's always important to talk about these issues.
Man, absolutely that. And thank you for taking the time. Well, you know, now the talk has become real. The talk has become action, and now we have at least 8 of 9 appointed members to this Memphis and Shelby County Oversight Board, overseeing the operations of the district. And I want to ask you, we've been dealing with this topic for a while now. Now that it is about to be real, your real thoughts about how you feel about all of this, and what are you expecting, or what are you looking for as this thing starts to kick off?
Yes, sir. It's just unfortunate how we got to this position in the first place. I was elected in 2024, and I'm just kind of thrown into the political hot seat, so to say, dealing with Superintendent Fagans, and now just dealing with the oversight board and current Superintendent Roger Richmond, just dealing with everything. Again, it's unfortunate how we got here, but I guess it comes along with the territory. There's still going to be some legal ramifications. Of course, we're going to challenge it because the thing is, what my position always been is not so much about the position that I was elected to. It's more so about taking the voices away from it. And so once you, everything's good. Once you deliberately take those voices of the people, then I think that's where the issue comes in.
You talked about coming into this kind of a whirlwind thing in 2024, and then you had the Dr. Fagans issue and the whole 9 yards. We well documented how the public felt about all of this and everything else, and now we move ahead to this whole issue. And you mentioned that there are some possible legal options in reference to all of this. We know that basically the decision was made after a so-called audit that just really had just gotten started and cited a few issues, before we even got into the meat and potatoes of it. Did you feel even when this audit was going on, that this was, I guess, sort of leverage, if you will, for the state to be able to come in and say, you know what, they're not doing the job, they're not doing what they need to do, they got rid of Dr. Fagans, and we need to step in here and take over. Did you feel like that was really the engine that made all of this stuff happen?
Well, I think so. I definitely feel that way. And two, just with all the past history that school board has had in the past. Like I said, we only have 4 new members that come on the board.
Right.
So my question has always been, why now? Because students always lack proficiency. There's always test grades have never been where it should be in the state. The state has always been behind. And so my question I was like, why now? Why use all this information to justify a takeover right now? And if you want to use this information to justify a so-called takeover, which I call it, most people call it intervention, I call it a takeover because, like I always say, intervention without the proper investments is just interference. And what you're interfering with is the progress that the district has already made. With this particular project, so to say, it failed in Houston, it failed in New Orleans, and it failed in Detroit as well. So we all like to use the definition of insanity, creating the same thing and doing the same thing, expecting the same results. So I question my legislators saying, if these experiences fail in these other cities, then why would you think it'll work in Memphis?
So, having said that, I think they're using the model, if I'm not mistaken, of the Houston model. Houston public schools, they went through all of this, and they basically, put a board in place and to try to oversee things. I don't know how that has yielded in terms of results and things like that. But it's interesting, and a lot of folks you call it a takeover, you call it a takeover. They want to say oversight. I mean that's a big word, oversight. You have 9 people with 9 differing opinions. You have one individual who actually understands the workings and the functions of the school district. That would be former Superintendent Dorsey Hobson. And then you have another member, Billy Orgo, who used to be on the school board. So he has some understanding as well. But the one thing that I do know and recognize is the fact that there's a learning curve here, man. I mean, you guys, you come into this, you're a $1.8 billion budget against the largest school district in the state of Tennessee. I mean, this is not a walk in the park. While these people that may have been appointed, have some stature in terms of business and some of the backgrounds that they bring to all of this, this is a pretty steep learning curve, is it not?
It is, and in all those individuals that has been appointed to the board so far, at some point in my political career, I've had conversations with them. I had mentorship with them. So I can't say the oversight board is not as scary as everybody thought it was going to be starting out. So as an elected official, I'm always open to learning. I'm always open to advisory. But again, that takeover piece, as far as like taking away the votes of taking away our votes, the voices of the community, the people who put us in those positions.
Yeah, I mean, and I think but I think depending on who you talk to around here, from the community perspective, there are a number of folks who think that this is a good thing. They think, well, you know what, they need some oversight. They're making mistakes and they're doing this and they're doing that, and the kids aren't reading a third grade level and the whole 9 yards. And you have just, I just wonder. When you have conversation with community members, as I know you do, you're very involved in the community. What some of these folks are saying about, or they're asking you about all of this. And I know that asking you about it now, you're in the world of the dark and unknown like everybody else is until this thing starts to rolling. But do you find that there is support? And disagreement in terms of this actual, as you would like to put it, takeover?
It's both. It's both because if you're coming from an employee perspective, people work in the district with the oversight board, they will have authority to hire and fire superintendent. They will have the authority to get rid of certain positions within the school system. Now, Memphis Shelby County Schools has been the pillar of, say, middle class people in Memphis. So once you kind of chop away at those jobs, you will see more people enter into the workforce, and you'll see less economic growth within our communities. So that's kind of the scary part about it. And then, but on the other side is, yes, people saying they talk about third grade literacy. As an oversight committee and school boards, we're not in the classroom teaching children. This is our job to help provide a better, safe learning environment. But I definitely agree. I'm frustrated with the reading scores and the comprehension scores as well. But that's a nationwide issue. I oftentimes say, hey, if God gave somebody just a great philosophical guy named Spinoza. If I gave somebody a passage and say, hey, read this passage from Spinoza, I guarantee you, Mr. Washington, they will have a hard time reading it. Now, that's not saying they can't read. It's just that comprehension levels is on different levels. So there are some things that we can do systematically that can change the structure on the way we can teach our children to learn how to learn. It only takes 6 weeks to teach a child to learn how to read. But the problem is we've always had people in the way to say, hey, we want to do it this way
Yeah.
versus going back to the summer phonemic awareness that's been missing out of the classrooms.
I think before I let you get out of here, one of the things that I think people really need to pay attention to are the fundamental philosophies of these individuals that are coming in now to oversee this process. You mentioned that one they have clear oversight. I mean they have full oversight to be able to do what they need to do, what they feel like they need to do in this. And you obviously mentioned that concerns you the most, especially when you're coming into a situation where people are now going to put pressure on this committee to try to make change. Okay, you in there now, so let's see some action. But what you're saying is, what would be your final message in terms of all of this from someone who, as you said, was elected by the people to be a representative for our children? What would be your message in terms of that for the committee?
My message would be, because I was elected by the people, I have a seat at the table to try to change a lot of the illnesses that's been plaguing our school system for some time. And I will hope the board of managers, deep down inside, everybody wants to do the right thing. I think everybody's coming to the table to do the right thing. We have to figure out a way to tell a better story, to get to really to the bottom of the issues, whether it's education, whether it's economics. That's another issue. We did have to deal with generational poverty, have to deal with generational ignorance. And so we have to come together as a board of managers. We can't be up there fighting each other. Of course, there'll be some disagreements. And like you mentioned earlier, this is a bit of learning curve, because we have to deal with public comments. We have to still be out into the communities, still have to be out into the schools and explaining situations. And so we don't want to get into a situation where we're, as the elected body, saying, hey, we want to vote on this, and this is what we think is best for the school system, and the board of managers have a different opinion. That's when that's when the argument comes in publicly. So we don't want to, have those particular political arguments. We should do what's best at the end of the day for our students.
Tamarques Porter, a Memphis and Shelby County School Board member. Tamarques, thank you, my friend, for taking the time to come on the show and really lay out your honest thoughts and opinions about all of this. Safe travels, my friend, and we'll talk to you on the other side. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ms. Watch, because I want to say another thing, too, is just like the young lady you're going to have on your show later on. Those young people are watching us. And so we don't set the stage for them and continue to give them some encouragement to want to get into the fight. If they see us bickering, if they see adults bickering, then they will discourage them from just want to continue to get in the fight, and just kind of they will have a tendency to go into that silo and say, hey, you know what, I'll just continue just to do what's best for me.
Thank you, Tamarques. That's a very, very good point you just made, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. We'll talk to you down the road. Take care.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Tamarques Porter, ladies and gentlemen, Memphis and Shelby County School Board member, giving us his honest thought process about what is about to happen with this appointed new board. Speaking of that, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to speak with one of the newly appointed oversight committee members, managers, or whatever the term it is that they call themselves. Beverly Robertson joins me on this Monday edition right here on 91.7 WYXR. You can also check us out on Facebook as well. We're down streaming the show. Let's take another break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you, and my next guest is someone who is held in very high esteem in this community. She is an extraordinary businesswoman, business leader, community leader. She was once the head of the National Civil Rights Museum. She also took the helm at the Memphis and Shelby County Memphis Chamber. And now she is as busy as she is all the time, has accepted another position, that of being a member of the Memphis and Shelby County Oversight Board. Please welcome to the show, Beverly Robertson, and I call her Queen because she is one. It's so good to see you, and thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Chip. Anytime you ask if I am available, I try to respond. I do.
Absolutely that. Thank you so much. Okay, well, obviously, you're going along in life, and, you're handling things at trust marketing and a lot of other things that you're doing in the community. The governor calls and says, Beverly, we would like you to very much consider being a member of our appointed oversight board or board of managers or whatever the title is on all of this. When you got that phone call, I wonder what your initial reaction to all of this was.
Well, it's interesting. I think that a couple of people in previous conversations that I have had asked me more than a year ago, would I ever consider doing that? And I told them at that time, no. And I said no because Howard and I have been trying to integrate our children into our business.
Right.
And when they come from different areas, there is an orientation process because they need to understand how valuable relationships are and how you actually develop proposals and you follow the line of trust marketing, because it's not going to be like P&G. It's not going to be like other companies. It's going to be the trust marketing way. And so, but as I thought about that position, one thing that I will always say, because I was a former teacher, I taught in Memphis and City. It's actually Memphis City schools at Florida Elementary. I was a special education teacher. Nobody knows that I taught.
I did not know that myself. I did not. I had one of those at home too, by the way, a special education teacher. So yeah, okay, wow.
Yeah, I taught at Florida Elementary, which no longer exists. My daughter taught for 20 years. Each of my kids went to different public schools in Memphis, Tennessee. And while I will say this, I don't have a child by blood in the schools, but all of these children are my children, because the success of these children will determine the success of the city and the region.
Having said that, that's a very important component. You said, gave us kind of a peek into your background here. So all of these children are your children. So it just felt like you heeded the call. This was the time worked out for you. The time was right. So as you step into this, and this is for all of us, the world of the unknown. We've never seen this before, and the folks in Nashville have picked a pretty impressive group of individuals, including a former Shelby County school superintendent and a board member. So as you sit back now, and it has sunk in that you're a part of this very, very important oversight committee, what is, or is there, or have you thought about what one of your main priorities are, what you see looking over the landscape of the school system as some of the problems that really need to be addressed and focused in on?
Well, there are certainly a number of challenges that the school board deals with every day. And what I will say to you is that I view the school board as doing the best job that they can, understanding the circumstances that they often find themselves in.
Mm.
They've got safety issues that they've got to deal with. They've got over 100,000 students that go to school. They've got to make sure they have teachers, effective teachers. They got to make sure that the facilities that they exist in don't have a roof falling in over them. And we got a huge deferred maintenance problem. They've got to understand the future needs of the workforce, what is growing, what's not going to be growing, and be able to provide opportunities for those who are not going to pursue college to have a higher wage job. So they need to offer skill-based training for in-demand professions. And they've got to build pipelines to make sure that we have the smartest, most dedicated and qualified teachers there can be in the system. So there are a number of things that I would think we need to do, but foremost among them would be we got to conduct a needs assessment. We work in our different respective areas, but we don't know what the board knows.
Right.
We don't know what superintendent knows. So
Right.
I can't go in and act like I'm smarter than you,
Mhm.
right? That is
Mhm.
not who I am.
Mhm.
I need to go in asking questions. What are the issues that you have? What are the academic challenges that you have? What are the systems and policies? And what are the strategies that you're using to address them? So we've got to do a needs assessment and then prioritize those needs. And then we've got to drive transformational change to help elevate student achievement. And to do that, we got to maybe think more out of the box.
Okay.
We got to hold folks accountable, and we've got to be accountable as the managers team. We've got to look at potential reform that needs to take place, and we got to make some tough decisions too about some things. So we know that we're not going to be the best liked, when it's all said and done.
Sure.
But if we achieve higher levels of performance by students, if we're measuring according to metrics that we established, if we're being transparent with the public, and we got to hear some other voices from the public too.
Yeah.
We got to talk to some teachers, some principals, some students,
Sure.
some grassroots citizens, and understand where they are. I know that's a long response, but I'll shut up now.
No. And I think it's very important for people to hear from you. You're the first one that we've really heard from in terms of all of this. And you talked about a needs assessment. We need to know because I've had conversations with several of these school board members in the past, and one of the things, especially for new ones coming in, there is a pretty steep learning curve in terms of all of this. I mean, you just can't pick it up in like a month. I mean, it takes some good period of time to be able to understand the functionality of the system, as you said, coming in. I think one of the things that I think everybody would hope would be that there would be some sort of I guess understanding from the elected school board members about the job that you all have been tasked to do, and that
Yes.
communication needs to be probably the uppermost in any of this, being able to talk to each other, to be able to talk with them, to be able to learn and absorb some of the knowledge that they have in terms of what they do, as you said, on a daily basis, correct?
Right. What I would say is I don't view this as a conflicting situation. For me, it's collaborative, it's symbiotic. We've got to be able to work together to achieve the standards that we'd like to be able to achieve. And we need to define the areas of accountability and establish metrics. One thing that I learned when I was in corporate America is that it's really important to measure your success, but you can't do 15 things at one time. You got to prioritize
Right.
and say, these are the things that we're going to approach first. And it's 2 or 3. And then we got to come back to the public and say, here's what we told you, here's what we've done, so that the public understands clearly that there is transparency and accountability in this work.
One of that part right there is to me extraordinarily important. We've heard in the past that the public, who can be a bit fickle at times about all of this, they say that there's no communication. That the board's not listening to their wants and their needs in terms of all of this. You sound as if you are very focused on getting input not only from the members of the board but from the members of the public. If you want to see substantial change in how we do things with the school system and a higher accountability rating, then people have to open their mouths and be honest and express themselves to you, the board, correct?
That's right. And I think we're going to have the support of the entire community.
Right.
If we are going to increase achievement, parents need to get their kids to school. I think last year, 30,000 kids were chronically absent, 30,000.
Yeah.
That is 30% of the kids. If they are chronically absent, how are they going to learn? Parents need to understand the value of them attending school. So we need parents on the team. We need grassroots citizens on the team. We need ministers on the team. We need people who are in positions that can affect the resources, the business community on the team. Everybody has got to work together to make this happen.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's one of the big things. I think that folks talk a lot about. Well, they don't listen to us, and nobody, cares about this and that. I know that as Tamarques Porter said to me a few minutes ago, it came in during 2024, which was a very tumultuous year. We all know about Dr. Fagans. We all know about all of that back and forth and everything else. And now we moved to another level in terms of all of this. When you first heard about this, though, in terms of them looking to put together a team of managers to oversee the day-to-day process, did you think it was a good idea? You personally?
Well, I thought the accountability side of it might be, but it depended on who sits on the board of managers. See, I was thinking that they were going to make decisions to bring people from East Tennessee and Middle Tennessee down here to Memphis and take our watch and tell us how to tell time. And for me, that was not acceptable.
Right.
You can't take my watch and tell me how to tell time. Mm-hmm. The only way that change can really, effective change, long-term change can happen is if we are the voice of that change, if we commit to that change as an entire community, as if we commit to providing the resources that these children need and securing more funds, maybe even from the state, to make sure that we have the resources that we need to manage it. Yeah, I thought it was kind of strange, and I didn't want, I hate the word takeover, because in a way, this is really a collaboration and not a takeover, because these are people from Memphis. They're not people who've come from somewhere else.
Finally, you mentioned this earlier in the conversation. Obviously, the teachers are our backbone. The teachers are the ones who are in the classroom doing the work every single day with our young people, helping them to achieve, to get to the next level. How much, from your perspective, are you going to hold teachers accountable? We've seen like there's been a shortage of teachers in the classrooms. It's hard to get qualified teachers in the classroom, and a lot of other things that go into that. Obviously, having fully staffed classrooms is a very important component. But in terms of the people who are on the ground doing the work every day, how much accountability are you going to hold them to?
It's interesting. I've talked to a few teachers over the course of a couple of years, and what they say to me is, everybody's focused on the test. Everybody's focused on all this paperwork. It's hard for us to really teach because we've got so many other things that have become priorities above and beyond the instruction in the classroom. So what I think is we must do is we must look at that. And to the extent that we can remove the barriers, get the barriers out of the way, because you cannot teach if you got 10 pages of paperwork to complete every day. Yeah. How's that possible? Yeah. So I think that definitely they can be held accountable, but we can't hold them accountable if the state is requiring, if the system is requiring that they take a quarter of their time during the day to fill out and complete paperwork. So that's why it's important for us to understand What stands in your way? What inhibits you from teaching those beautiful kids and elevating their standards of performance? And I think they would say to you, it's not meetings as business, but it is paperwork. It's the testing standards that are required. All of those things go into shaping a classroom that is nurturing, one that helps students develop, one that is creative. I think it takes something special by a teacher who dedicates the time and has the time and is not required to do 10 or 15 other tasks other than teach.
Translated, if you're going to be a teacher, let them teach.
Yes.
It's what you're
let
saying.
Them teach.
Let them
teach. Yes.
Beverly Robertson, ladies and gentlemen, boy, I tell you, they picked the right one with this one, and I am just so proud of you as always. We look forward to what comes next in this saga. It is not going to be an easy lift. It's not going to be an easy push. But we hope that all of the managers who are assigned to all of this are on the same page and the same focus, which is, as I always say on this show, the children, the kids, these young people are the future. These young people have to be the priority. Beverly Robertson, it's so good to see you, and thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk to our folks. I'm sure they're all saying a hallelujah at their house right about now.
Well, I love the kids. I love Memphis, and I'm going to do my darndest to make sure that I put forth the kind of effort that generates results. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate you. Beverly Robertson, ladies and gentlemen.
You.
Yes, absolutely that. And that's one of the voices that you're going to hear, and it's going to be a loud voice, and it's going to be a strong voice. Great interview. Let's take one final break, and when we come back, you want to hear what a young person is thinking about things around our city and our community. You want to hear what her opinions are about certain issues that are happening. She said, I guess I had mentioned at one point or another, I enjoy listening to young folks who have a mindset and a thought about where things are. A lot of grown folks tend to ignore the younger voices. Well, we're going to change that here right now at this segment. Please welcome to the show, Jasmine Bernard. I call her a student community activist. She's 17 years old. She joins us now. Jasmine, it's good to see you. How are you tonight?
Good to see you too. I'm doing pretty good today. Thanks for asking.
Absolutely that. Are you enjoying? Yeah, I know your summer has been just getting started, but are you enjoying it so far?
Yes, it's
okay.
Great.
Okay, very, very, very good. Okay, so you seem to be someone who is pretty involved in what is happening in and around our community. And I know there's one particular issue that you have really gotten behind. But first, let me ask you this. Why are young voices important in the daily conversations that grown folks have? And why don't you think enough people take the younger generation seriously in terms of some of the thoughts that they might have?
Yeah, I think young people are extremely important in the conversations that we're having because we are the ones who will be most directly impacted by the decisions that are being made today. So while the people who are in law and in policy may be old and may not live with the consequences of their decisions, especially when we talk about things like water use and clean air, young people will be directly impacted. And if we're not at the table when those decisions are being made, we won't be able to have a future that we can look forward to. And I think a lot of times that our voices are silenced because a lot of people choose to not see young people. We hear a lot of, young people are to be seen and not heard because that's what has been said a lot to older folks when they were younger, and they just kind of reuse that same cycle.
It's a different day. It's a different time. And I want to focus in on one thing I'm going to ask you before you get off the air is about the election process and how very, very important that is. But you actually started a couple of student organizations about a couple of issues that are pretty important to you. Tell our audience about that.
Yes, so I started Youth Minds United alongside my cousin Jonathan Isom, and we're doing a lot around mental health, gun violence, and environmental issues. So we currently actually just launched our campaign to reform the Department of Children's Services,
Oh,
where we're asking for a lot of youth first policies as opposed to policies that constantly ignore mental health issues that may be happening with young people. And then I'm also leading with some other young people, the Youth Action Network 901, which is kind of a hub for any youth events that are happening in Memphis that are youth led, especially organizing events, because it's important to build youth power. And the goal is for that to actually eventually become a youth union. So young people have a way to mobilize really quickly. And then the last one, I was a co-lead for the Tigers Against Pollution around the XAI issue.
now that XAI issue, which for many folks is still troubling in a lot of
Exactly.
ways. You mentioned at the beginning of all of this, focusing on clean air and water and things like
Mhm.
that, the environment and things like that.
Exactly.
Why is this XAI deal so important to you?
It's important to me because my family is from South Memphis and like from Westwood and all those areas.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not a question about technology or anti-technology. It's about if we care about the lives of people who live in our city. And I think by XAI being in our city, it's clear that people don't. And XAI, especially, of course, is run by the the richest man in the world. And it's hard to, get policy and local leaders to show and have more of a backbone against the blatant, disrespectful way that he came into our city. But we're seeing now how the health impacts are affecting people, how the sound is impacting people, and young people, especially who have weaker, our bodies are not made for pollution. Nobody's body is made for the level of pollution that we're seeing, but
Mm.
it especially impacts young people, especially those with asthma. So for me, it's not a tech or not tech question. It's just about how much do we care about profit and how much do we care about people. And I personally think we should care about people more than we care about profit.
Oh man, I tell you, now that's a big time a response. One before I let you go, I have to talk about the biggest issue that's on the table. You know about the redistricting effort. You know
Yes.
about District 9 being sliced up into three different
Hmm.
districts. Um, do you think, and I think I know the answer to this question, that people generally, as folks are starting to kind of process all of this and talk about this, tend to kind of overlook the younger population who can vote. I mean, 18
Hmm.
years and up, you can vote, and we don't seem to fill in the gap on that, and we don't seem
Yeah.
to really, from my perspective, really understand and focus and talk to and involve the young people in the process. Do you
Mhm.
find that to be the case in your from your world?
I definitely find that to be the case, and I think it leads to a lot of young people being disengaged, especially when we're told at a young age, you'll be important in the future. It sets young people to not find their vote to be important when they are 18 and whatnot. So I think right now what we're seeing with the redistricting is the time when we need to engage young people the most, and when we need to make sure that young people are the ones who are leading these conversations. And for me, I started a campaign with some other young people to get young people more informed about the redistricting with the Youth Action Network, where we're having a series of mass calls on every Thursday. And that's our way to get other young people informed. But we need people in power and we need people who have resources and, the backing to make sure that throughout their work around this redistricting, that they are engaging young people. Because if they're not, then a lot of the efforts that we're seeing aren't going to be as fruitful as we would all like them to be.
You know, that's a very interesting point that you make because again, I think it's something that people are taking for granted. I mean,
Hmm.
we look at, for example, we look at what is happening on our streets, and we want to label everybody. Well, I've never
Hmm.
labeled everybody in any particular category. There are some young folks who are going down the wrong road, and we understand that. But that's not everybody, and we understand that there are many young people who are actually working hard to try to change the culture of what happens around here in this city. I mean, and a lot of folks, as I said before, tend to overlook the power and strength of young people. And you were very eloquent when you said, you know what, if you keep doing this kind of stuff, you'll never get the kind of support that you need because young folks will disengage, as you say, and disassociate themselves from the process when you are our future leaders, and we really need to pay more attention and focus on that, do we not?
Exactly. That's exactly what we need.
Well, I am very, I'm excited about you, and I'm excited about those who think like you. And before you go, if you have a message that you would like to give to our audience by way of the grown folks that are listening, that would translate to their young folks, what would it be?
I would say my motto for 2026 has been to make sacrifices for community. Whatever that means to you, if that means finding a young person and just talking to them about their opinions, if that means going, instead of, maybe going shopping one day, going to a food pantry, no matter what that means to you, we're in some dire times, and the only way we can get out of them is through community. So truly make some sacrifices for your community this year.
Well, you are something else. I can see you, in the political world, and I'd vote for you. I can tell you that right now. Jasmine Bernard, ladies and gentlemen. Now, see, this is an example of why we need to pay attention to and understand our young people, and more importantly, listen. You have to listen to them and talk to them on their level. I don't think Jasmine would disagree with that. Talk to them, listen to them, and more importantly, when you're talking, be through talking, and then listen to what they have to say, because they really are our future. Jasmine, thank you for taking some time to come on the show tonight. I really appreciate you. So very proud of you and your efforts, and I'm gonna have you back. Okay, so just prepare for that.
Thank
Okay.
you, Chip.
All right. Have a good night. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank
There
you,
you go,
Liz.
boy. Lulu. Yeah, she's waving. I don't know if she can see you or not. But anyway, Lulu. Attention to my right, Bryn Butler, ladies and gentlemen, the man who brings you Event Horizon each and every Monday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time, right here on WYXR. Bryn, what's up, man? How are you? Okay, your mic doesn't. Okay, your mic doesn't. Okay, that's all right. I was going to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you have in store for us this evening?
This evening, it'll be a lot of new releases, which we haven't gotten to in about a month or so.
Yeah.
It feels pretty good to have about 85% or whatever new releases. Mostly staying in the hip hop world this show. A little bit of electronic stuff here and there, like instrumental stuff I may talk over. I'm excited for it. I was here while Chip and Lulu took the week off last week, but happy to keep the train running or whatever.
Man, listen, we really enjoy you, and I really enjoy your musical, because you're kind of a musical. I don't know. There's a word for it in terms of just somebody who swings to you cover a wide range of music. I think that's a good way to put it for you. Am I correct in that? So he's bringing up the new releases tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So don't you dare touch that dial, because Brent is coming up in just a second as he plays us out. It's always good to take a little time off, but it's always good to come back as well. So I hope that you enjoyed the show. I hope that you listened to the show, and if you want to check it out, or you want somebody else to check it out, we live stream this thing tonight on my Facebook page, so you can check it out. And we're also a podcast, so you can find it probably the next couple 3 days on whatever podcast platform you listen to, because I'm on about 7 or 8 of them in this country. So you can always find the show. So thank you, Memphis, for being a part of what we do each and every week. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate Bryn, I appreciate Lulu, and I appreciate you. The Lord says so. We'll be back next week with another edition of Real Talk Memphis. And we'll try to do it again just a little bit better. So for all of us here, for Lulu, for Bryn, and don't go away, because Bryn's coming right back with his show Event Horizon, and for yours truly, thank you for being a part of what we do. Have a wonderful week. Be safe, be careful. Until we talk again, we are out.